Alright, welcome back to Aaron or Hero, everybody. We're going to be going through the 23 signs your partner is mentally abusive. Now, when I was a kid, okay, say from and my dad, well, actually, sitting with my mom and my mom's person that she had that wasn't my dad, and when my dad had custody of me, I saw with my dad and the person that so I've seen both. All right, I've seen the man do it, and I've seen the woman do it, and I've seen it grown up. Well, something I want to warn you guys about is that if you are not careful, you're dealing with your subconscious. Like you might subconsciously choose one of these type of people and a mentally abusive person, and you don't know it. Okay, you won't know it till like way down the line, or until you look it up, or until you hear about it, or because it's like the reason you can't see it or you won't be able to see it is because you when you grow up seeing it, you will probably think like I did. You think like I think. I still think the same way. I'd never choose an abusive person. I would never choose that. That would never be me. Stuff like that. Well, that can kind of you're right. Just let you know you're not wrong, and you're right. You wouldn't purposely go and choose a person you saw your mom choose, or you go choose a person you saw your dad choose. For my mom, I lived with her like for a period about 5 years. My mom had custody of me and my sister. Then, like between 12 to 13, my dad had custody of me and my sister. So then we was with them for like almost 5.5 something years. Because it's like when my dad got custody, I just turned 13 when he got custody. It's like because I was 12, and then I turned 13 that year. Then when my mom got custody, it was like when she got custody, re-custody again, I was in 16, like 16 and a half, and in that year I turned 17. So it's kind of a weird thing, but we got a lot to go through. It's 23 freaking signs, okay? Your partner's mentally abusive. Now, this goes across mental abuse, period. It's not about just your partner, but the reason why your partner is important is because my mom had a partner, and they used mental abuse tactics. My dad, when I was with him, he had a partner, and he had to deal with them, and his partner was mentally abusive. So the mentally abusive thing, when you're by yourself, some people, based off of how much mentally abused they are, they went through, they might accidentally, they might mentally abuse themselves because that's what they used to, or they don't know how to get out of it, or whatever. Okay, but we got a lot to go through, so we're going to get started. So it's on this, as you can see, this website here it is. So 23 signs your partner's mentally abusive. This is by somebody named Teresa Newsome. Okay, and here we go. Now, here's all this first part. Okay, but we're just gonna go, right into it. All right. So here we go. A lot of people have the misconception that if they're not the victim of physical violence, then they're not truly victims of abuse. That's true. I thought that, but because my first abuse was mostly physical, but there was mental stuff in there too, like how the guy would try to separate the love between me, my sister, and my mom, stuff like that. Okay, and like tell my mom stuff that never happened. That was like kind of a mental stuff. But anyway, nothing could be further from the truth. There are signs your partner is mentally abusive, also called emotionally or psychologically abusive. They have little to nothing to do with physical violence at all. In fact, as a domestic violence victim advocate and Planned Parenthood certified responsible sexual educator, the majority of abuse victims I worked with reported that their partners were never physically violent, but they never hit me or anything. It's something I heard on a daily basis. They're talking about this person, or they're talking about rightness. While physical abuse can be deadly, Mental and emotional abuse can ruin lives as well. It can completely erase someone's personality, erode their self-esteem, ruin their other relationships, cause depression and anxiety, and you never know if the abuser will escalate to violence. Basically, it makes someone a prisoner of both the abuser and of their own sadness, fear, and hopelessness. Even though no one is being hit, mental abuse isn't a less serious type of abuse. Here, another scary thing about mental and emotional abuse, it can be happening to you without you even realizing it. As I said, no matter who you are, some abusers are that sneaky and that good. Look for these signs to see if your partner is abusing you with their words and actions. Now, isolation. This is both abusers that I had, the physical one and the mental one. They both use isolation. Get you alone, get you when the person that's supposed to love you is not around. So I've had that one. One of the most common tricks of a mentally abusive partner is to isolate their victims from the rest of the world. This can look like moving to a faraway place, convincing you your family is no good, or forbidding you to see your friends. Eventually, you become dependent on them for all of your social needs. Okay, for me, it's different. So where it says, this can look like moving to a faraway place. That didn't happen. Convincing you your family is no good. That didn't happen. Okay, or forbidding you to see your friends. That didn't happen. It's more like just getting you alone, period. Okay, but I guess these are some other things that people go through. But for me, it was just getting you alone, getting the people that love you and care about you, getting you away from that person, because then they'll probably will protect you if you tell on them or something like that. Okay, now, name calling. Okay, someone who truly loves you in a healthy way would never tell you that you're worthless or call you names. This is one of the clearest, most obvious signs of abuse, but also one we often miss. That's because name calling can start out playfully in the beginning of a relationship and turn mean so subtly you're almost too used to it to notice. Okay, well, name calling is that's pretty blank statement. It's pretty much in your face. Yes, that's a mental abuse. They're calling you out your name. They're calling you, what do a lot of women say? A lot of women say, you're a kid, you're a kid, you act like a child, or they call you, let's say you can't remember something, old man or some stuff like that. Well, as far as name calling was, like the first guy, like he always called me stupid, said I wasn't smart, said didn't have common sense, like he would be like saying like, oh, this is so easy, you're too stupid to understand, or he'll say like I was never be nothing, I'd never be anything, or like that was the first guy, the first abuser, basically the physical one. Now the second one, the second one with the name calling, that was kind of like, that was actually her. She was like, the second one with the name calling, my dad's house, that was what she said. Oh, you acting like a kid, like a little kid. You didn't like that, stuff like that. Even though I was 13, 14, 15, 16 and a half. That's what she said often. Like I wanted to get this, I put a frog in the tank because I wanted a pet frog. Oh, you acting like a kid, like you want to do an experiment. Well, guess what? I was already still doing experiments in high school anyway. So whether she liked it or not, I was doing that. Anyway, that's just one of those things. Threats, okay? Maybe your partner doesn't hit you, but threatens to. These threats can be through words or through actions. Abusers also commonly threaten the families, friends, and children of their victims. Threats are very serious because they always have the potential to become reality. For me, it wasn't threats. It was real. So the first dude, real, he was hitting us. Okay? The second one, she used threats. She would threaten to hit us and then maybe do it sometimes, but it would be like with a ruler. But she wouldn't hit us too much. I think maybe she just thought that my dad would be too angry at her or something like that for going that far, because he just got custody of us from an abuser who was physical. So I think that's why she didn't go through with that. But for me, the threats of hitting you, that's real. Okay, it was not a threat. It really happened. The only one that really, she said, okay, here's an example. She said something like, "You think I can't get you too? You think I can't hit you too just because you're not my kid?" That's what I get. Okay, now unpredictability. When you have an abusive partner, you never know what you're going to get. Are they coming home in a good mood or a terrible mood? Will the fact that it's raining make them mad enough to start a fight with you? If you worry constantly about things upsetting your partner and you're literally never sure how they'll react, that's a red flag. Yes. Yes, it is. For instance, okay, my mom, she'd get home. Okay, we know pretty much how my mom's going to act. Okay, and we know pretty much how our abuser was going to act. He was going to be on his P's and Q's and not do a dang thing. Now, here's what happens. When mom leaves in the morning, or when mom leaves, she goes wherever she's got to do, take care of bills, whatever she's doing. This is where the unpredictability comes. This is from the first guy. Okay, so the first guy, it was more like unpredictability, where like you don't know how much you're going to get hit, or you don't know the severity of you getting hit, or you don't know how much you're going to bleed, or you don't know if he's going to make you fight your sister, something like that. That's him with the unpredictability. Now, with the second one, the pure, mostly mental abuser person, this person. Okay, well, she was like wake you up with pots and pans and say, well, if I'm going to be up, y'all going to be up. You know, that. She was, are you coming home in a good mood or a terrible mood? Most of the time, you'll know when it's a terrible mood because you'll try to leave so that, you'll eventually get to the point where you realize if you're not home, you can't get in trouble. You're not home to get in trouble. You're not home for them to remember stuff you did or try to find things you did, wrong or stuff like that. So this is how you'll know. They'll tell you to come home and tell you to be early to come home. Okay? So that's another thing. That's how kind of it's a terrible mood. Okay? A good mood is when they let you go places. Like they'll actually let you be away from them. Terrible mood is when they're trying to have you in their vicinity to be mean to you, make you feel like crap. Says, will the fact that it's raining make them mad enough to start a fight with you? Nope, they don't care. Okay, they're gonna start a fight with you because they want to. Okay, if you worry constantly about things upsetting your partner and you're literally never sure how they'll react, that's a red flag. Now, as far as my dad, I think that happened. One time I went to, I was going to tell my dad some stuff that happened in the house, and I went to Double Doors, and I heard, if you don't listen to what I say and do what I want you to do, I won't have sex with you anymore. I heard that, for real. And another one I heard was, well, wherever she feels, I feel. He became a totally different person, like, for real. And I actually can pinpoint when the last time he had his own personality and when he switched, and it was around that same time. But definitively, it was during a Chinese restaurant takeout, and that was pretty much the last day I remember him being an individual, and he pretty much became a second person that was like her. Now, so there's that unpredictability. Okay, worry about upsetting your partner and you're never sure how they'll react. That's a red flag. So with my dad's partner, that's how that was. I didn't really see that much with my mom because the guy just didn't bother doing stuff in front of my mom like that. He didn't bother controlling her like that. Okay, next, neglect. Okay, the truth is that neglect has many forms. Your partner can refuse to talk to you, withhold affection, or disappear for days at a time. Or they can block your access to food, not let you have the supplies you need for basic self-care, or leave you without power and water. Abusers love to take things away from people. Boom, that's a control thing. Now, we're going to get into both of them here. So we're going to go through the first thing. So this says the truth is neglect has many forms. So your partner can refuse to talk to you. I didn't see that with my mom and the person she was with. I saw that with my dad and the chick he was with. Okay. she would do that. She would refuse to talk to him because he wouldn't listen to her by grounding me and my sister for no reason. Sometimes he don't feel like doing that. So then she wouldn't do that. Withhold affection. Yep. Affection for my dad would be like having a home cooked meal. That's one of his biggest things. Home cooked meal. Withhold affection. See, my mom didn't really. My mom had withheld affection, but she did that because me and my sister was being hurt and she was hearing bad stuff about what was going on in the house before she got home. Okay, so that was that. And yeah, I mean, and the one I told you about where, oh, if you don't do what I say, you're not going to have sex with you anymore and stuff like that. So R says, or they can block your access to food. Seen that happen with, not with my mom, but seen it happen with my dad and his person he was with. She just would make hot dogs only, and he would really want like some vegetables, fruit with some grains and some meat. He'd want like a plate that has a balanced plate, and eat with the rest of the house. But he wasn't able to do that. He just got hot dogs. Says not let you have the supplies you need for basic self-care. Didn't see that one in either, because they both had jobs, so they wasn't completely left with their their partner, but dependent. Or leave you without power and water. I haven't seen that on either side. Abusers love to take things away from people. Okay, yes, like I said, my dad's chick was trying to take sex away from him, and then like home cooked meals away from him, stuff like that. But that really didn't happen to my mom. Okay, jealousy. I'm not talking about the little, oh, who is that question that we all are capable of. I'm talking about not even being able to look at your waiter without getting accused of cheating. In fact, you don't even have to ever leave the house to be constantly accused of infidelity. Jealousy can also be worded in a way that the abuser convinces you is for your own protection, like you can't dress like that because people can't be trusted. Now, this is going to be, my dad wasn't actually accused of cheating. Neither was my mom. But as far as jealousy goes, this is a different format of what happened to me when my mom had custody and it was with the first abuser. Okay? Now, with him, it was about me going to this. It was the same thing over and over. Did I tell my dad about what was going on, about what the stuff he did to me and my sister during the summertime when me and my sister went down to go see our dad? And I was probably 7 or 8 during this time. And I think I was 8 because that's when my molestation started. And I remember being with my dad at that time and I was visiting. So 8 years old. I'm going to say that I can pinpoint it there. So that's when he started this jealousy thing. Okay? He's always upset. Like, did you tell your dad what was going on? And I had to get stabbed. I had to get sliced. Stuff like that with knives and stuff. And I never told my dad about what happened for fear of actually getting stabbed and sliced and getting beat and stuff like that. But that happened to me anyway, even though I didn't tell my dad anything about what had happened. So that's because when I was real little, okay, I did tell my dad one time that, that guy had hit me and my dad was upset. And one time we assumed my grandma was still alive or something like that. And so I was really young, okay, I'm 4, 3, something like that. And my dad had knocked his tooth out during that incident. Knocked his teeth out, okay. So I guess he was afraid the same thing was going to happen again because I did that when I was really young, okay. And I was just want my dad to protect me and just let my dad know what was going on. Well, he thought I did this again, okay, when I was like 8, but I didn't. Anyway, that's one form of jealousy from the guy. Now, from the second abuser, from her, the jealousy came with, it was really odd, but she didn't want her daughter, like her youngest daughter, to like me, like to see me as a positive figure. She didn't want her youngest daughter to, which would be my dad's child too, so she's like a half sister. Well, she didn't want her to be anything like me. She didn't want her to be positive like me, nothing. And like I saw the same format of this isolation abuse going on with her one reunion where she gave me a hug. My little sister gave me a hug, and her mom said, "Oh, you still like A1? You're here, okay? Oh, you still care about him, okay?" And I knew that she was either going to get beat, something bad was about to happen. Her grounded for a long time, stuff taken away, and I knew that because I went through that abuse already, and I was grown now at that point. So it was pretty sad. But those are two examples. Okay, another thing, because my mom and my dad's lady at that time, and even in their past, they have a history of not liking each other, and her being a bully, my mom being the victim, my mom beating up the bully, which was her. So there you have it. All right, now gaslighting. If you've never heard of gaslighting, it's a manipulation technique abusers use to make you doubt your own mind. Your abusers will say something or do something, then convince you they didn't, or that they said or did something else, to the point where it's a known thing that you can't be trusted to remember things correctly. It can be so severe that it makes you doubt your sanity. Okay, I've seen that. As far as the first abuser, your abuser will say something or do something to convince you they didn't. I have a hard time with him on that one. Or that they said or did something else, to the point where it's a known thing that you can't be trusted to remember things correctly. I have a hard time with that one. Most of the time it was with him, I wasn't smart. But with the second abuser, however, yeah, that happened all the time. And that happened so often. That is what would make my dad rush home to ground me and my sister. For instance, boom, go clean the back porch. My dad's fishing post was back there. He did not want us to mess with that area. But because the abuser already told, my dad, "Well, if you don't listen to me or do what I say, then I'm not going to have sex with you anymore," which contributed to my dad saying this, "Well, whatever she say goes, whatever she says is what I say." Boom, because now the next thing that comes, since whatever she says is what our dad says, then if we listen to her, we're listening to our dad. So the off-limit area that we're not supposed to be touching or messing with or cleaning or moving anything is his fishing area. It's close to the patio, okay? That's in the patio-like area before you step on the deck. That area is off limits. His fishing stuff is there. He's got it organized the way he needs it to be. So anyway, she goes and says, "Hey, your dad wants you to clean that area up, really clean it, deep clean it, take everything out, okay? Wash everything down with get a bucket of soap, and water, and a sponge, and wipe everything down." We did that, and guess what? We didn't have cameras really. We didn't know to take pictures of where every single thing went. So when my dad got home, he was like, "Hey, who messed with this?" And guess what she said? "Oh, your kids did it. They went crazy and they did that." Gaslighted us. All right? She did that a lot. That's how we got grounded most of the time. But we thought, "No, Dad, we thought you said that, because, what she says, you said." "Yeah, but I didn't say that. Y'all know not to mess with this area. Y'all grounded." Then we can't go to school dances. We couldn't, stuff in high school, experiences, just gone. Can't never get them back. Gone, can't do them, nothing. So, gaslighting. The second abuser used that a lot. I've seen it a lot. All right? Now, guilt. Sometimes abusers put on a big show of acting like they feel guilty for the bad things they've done. What they're really doing is manipulating you into feeling bad for them, and even forgiving them or nurturing them. Don't fall for this power play. Okay. The abusers I had, they never used guilt. They don't give a crap. Okay? But pay attention, because this could be you, and I don't want y'all subconsciously choosing a partner like you've seen your mom get or your dad get. Okay? Even though I know in your heart and in your soul you say that you won't choose that person. But listen, you might accidentally choose that person and get deep in a relationship and everything else and end up living with them and everything else, and you don't know. But if this is you, take a look at your history, what you saw when you was a kid, stuff like that, and don't choose this person, okay? All right, so control finances. All right, one of the reasons it's so hard to leave abusive relationships is that the abuser often keeps tight control of the finances. If there's no money and the abuser doesn't let their victim work or go to school, it becomes increasingly difficult to leave. Both partners should have access to the money, even if one person is mostly in charge of it. Okay, abuser number one, he didn't work. My mom did. He never tried to control the finances. He really didn't care. His main focus was beating on me and my sister. That was it. Now, second abuser. She didn't work. My dad did. And she controlled the finances in a particular way. For instance, anything my dad bought, she called hers. Boat. She doesn't use, she doesn't fish. She says it's hers. TV, she didn't want my dad to get. Big TV. She wanted him to get a little smaller one. Well, he got the big one anyway. Guess what? Hers. Did my dad's fishing pole. She doesn't fish. She bought not a single fishing pole. Guess what? She said that was hers. So she basically controlled the finances. Whatever he spent was just hers. Okay? She even said, like, go clean my fishing poles. Go clean out my boat. And it's clearly not hers. She doesn't use it. My dad bought it with his money. Okay. And as far as, I didn't hear much talk of bills, rent. So I didn't really see too much of the controlling the finances part. So I'm sorry about that. But you should still pay attention to this just in case this is you or just in case you have seen this. Okay? You should have your own job, okay, so that when stuff gets crazy and you decide to move in with a person, you can at least leave and get out of it, okay, to the point where you can get an apartment or you can get, and apartments really suck. If you're a freaking righteous person, do your absolute best to make enough money to get a house instead, because that's what you need. If you're not righteous, well, get an apartment. Okay, ultimatums. Ultimatums are threats that force you to do something or face terrible consequences. The most common one is, if you leave me, I will kill you. Ooh, okay. Abusers can also use ultimatums like, if you don't quit your job, I'll take your kids away and you'll never see them again. Or, if you don't take me to buy beer, I'll never give you another cent as long as you live. They're another form of control and manipulation. All right, I'm going to go through, there's a lot of these here. I'm going to go through them individually. The most common one is, if you leave me, I will kill you. That was not abuser number 1 or number 2. That was abuser number freaking 3. The molester guy, the Christian dude. That was him. Okay? So it was more on the lines of, if I tell my dad anything, he'll never believe me and then he'll kill me. That's what I got. So from the molester Christian dude, I got that. Okay? So that's where that came from. And that was stuff he'd said like that. He would kill me if I told anybody anything. It wasn't necessarily if you leave me. But I got one of those, from my own dad, actually. He was like, if you leave me and go with your mom, then you won't get your wrestling medals or stuff like that, or medals I earned from sports. And that's true. I tried to come back and get them, and I couldn't get them. They were gone, and he was telling the truth on that. He wasn't joking around. Abusers can also use ultimatums like, if you don't quit your job, I'll take your kids away. I didn't see that at all. And you'll never see them again. No, didn't see that. Or if you don't take me to buy beer, I'll never give you another cent as long as you live. I didn't see money being controlled either which way like that bad. So, affairs and sexual dishonesty. If your partner disrespects the commitment and promises you made to each other with multiple affairs, It can be red flag for abuse, especially if your partner makes no attempt to hide it because they think you cannot or will not leave. Some abusers also force you to participate in their sexual escapades against your will for their own pleasure. This is never okay. Only person that's ever faced that is my own mom from my own dad. So I didn't see that happening when I was growing up. Actually, I didn't even know none of that stuff, so I haven't seen that. Didn't know anything about it. Didn't happen with my dad when I was he had custody of me with them, and it didn't happen with my mom when my mom had custody with her. So, but if this is you guys, there you go. Control and transportation. In an abuser's mind, if you don't have transportation, you can't leave them. Go cheat on them or do something you're not supposed to be doing. They could make sure you don't have a car, move to a place with no public transportation, or just keep you isolated in a remote location. Any attempt to control your freedom can be a red flag for emotional abuse. The first one did that. They would, like, if I wanted to go play with my friends or something like that and leave, it would be, oh, you got chores, or you got dishes, or something like that. And I'd barely be able to freaking leave, and I'd have to still get beat and stuff like that. Same for my sister. For when my dad had custody, it was, he couldn't go fishing. That was the big one. Oh, you can't go fishing. Like me, heck, I couldn't leave and go to church even. She wouldn't let me go to church. Just to get away from her and stuff like that, I couldn't do that. Couldn't go to church. Sometimes I couldn't go like to my friend's house. It's kind of far. It's like the outskirts of where I lived at that time. And like ride horses and stuff like that. I couldn't go there. But yeah. Move to a place with no public transportation, or just keep you isolated around a remote location. So didn't really have any other stuff happen to me. But it will be different for you if you're in a relationship, or it might be the same as what I just explained. Okay, if you're in a relationship, it might be like you yourself. Like when you get in one, it might be like you trying to go see your family or something. Okay, and then the person keeps holding you up and holding you up. I have a suspicion that's happening to my sister. So a lot of people do. So they keep holding you up anytime you try to see family, or anytime you want to leave and go do stuff, or all of a sudden they got plans they want you to come do with them, and that kind of thing. Because the more you leave, especially with a person that loves you and stuff, the more you leave, the more you could possibly talk about what they've been doing to you that they don't want the people that love you to want you to know. Stuff like that. That's the same, basically same thing. Like the first abuser didn't want me going back down with my dad at all, because of me previously telling my dad about what happened. He was like really afraid of that. Now, criticism. If your partner uses criticism as a form of abuse, then you'll live your life constantly wondering if you really can't do anything right, or if anything really is your fault. It's a harsh blow to the self-esteem, and it's a technique used to wear victims down so they're less likely to think they deserve better. Okay, so your partner uses criticism as a form of abuse. Then you'll live your life constantly wondering if you really can't do anything right. So, and if everything really is your fault. That was the first abuser. The first abuser was definitely like that. You're stupid. You're not smart. You don't got... I heard this one a lot. I didn't know what the heck this means. You don't got street smarts. Why would I want street smarts? Why the heck would I want that? Why can't I just have school smarts, educational smarts, like I'm supposed to be doing? Why shouldn't I learn some stuff from the streets for? Isn't that like what uneducated people learn stuff about? Now for the second abuser, it was like I really couldn't do math though. Like that's more truthful. But it was exactly the same thing. You don't got common sense. Doesn't make sense. You don't got common sense. You're not street smart. I got the same thing. And I still didn't know what the heck street smarts was. I didn't get that. I just felt like, why should I have street smarts? I'm not no gangster or anything like that. Wasn't raised by the streets. Boom, strict rules. Okay. Are there a set of spoken or unspoken rules about how you are supposed to live your life or how the house should be run? Does everything have to be spotless before the abusers get home? Do you had that one? Do you have to have dinner cooked a certain way by a certain time? Are you only allowed to get to grocery shop on weekends and only if your partner is with you? Excessive rules are a common means of exercising power and control. Okay, well, my mom's relationship, I didn't really see that. Really. I didn't really see much control over my mom, to be honest. Other than some weird technique he used where he puts his left hand on her left shoulder and his right hand on her right shoulder. And I don't know, I had some spiritual stuff that I was noticing that he used some spiritual energy on her, and it was a weird thing of control, but made us not be able to leave. Now, as far as my dad goes, his rules was do whatever the heck she said, and everything was hers and stuff like that. Now, in a relationship, it's going to sound more like this. I didn't hear this, but it might sound something like, going forward, you have to do this. And they're not sorry for anything they did. They don't have to apologize. Okay, as far as strict rules go. And then, there'll be so many of them, you can't follow them. You'll have to literally write these fucking things down, okay? There'll be a lot of them. And, you just can't remember them all. It's just, impossible because you'll do your best, and that's basically all you got is your best. But, spoken or unspoken rules about how you're supposed to live your life or how the house should be ran. Now, it can be, well, you're the man. That one might come up when they say that. Or it'll be, well, I got to make all the decisions on my own. So does everything have to be spotless before the abuser gets home? Oh, now, it did for the first one. And it did for the second one, but they were always home, okay? So it was more like make it spotless before your mom gets home, because my mom would suspect things if the place was dirty and things like that. Same thing, okay? For the second one, make the place spotless before your dad gets home. My dad was a clean person like that. His military background, dishes need to be washed, your chores need to be done, at least just have your chores done. But the whole cleaning thing and cleaning stuff was supposed to, that's another thing. Do you have to have dinner cooked a certain way by a certain time? I saw that my dad actually wanted his lady to do that. Before he got home, she had to have dinner made before he got home. Okay. As far as the both abusers, no. Are you only allowed to grocery shop on weekends and only if your partner is with you? No, didn't see that. Excessive rules are a common means of exercising power and control. So, no. So, cycle of kindness and rage. I hate this one. I really hate this one. So, I'll tell you why after I'm done. So, some abusers find that their abuse is pretty constant. Others find it comes in waves in a predictable cycle. The abuser rules over his partner like a tyrant. When they say his, could be her, okay? Then buys gifts, makes sweeping apologies, and promises it will never happen again. The truth is, it pretty much always happens again, and it only gets worse over time. So, others find it and comes in waves, come predictable cycle. The abuser rule, okay. So, the abuser rules over his partner like a tyrant. The first one did not rule over my mom like that. But the second one rolled over my dad like that. And the third one rolled over me like that. Okay? Then buys gifts. So, the third one, the Christian molester person, that guy. Okay? He didn't buy gifts. He would just say he wouldn't touch me that day or something like that. Okay? Or he wouldn't get on top of me that day, or he wouldn't rub on me that day, or some or he wouldn't put his tongue in my mouth that day or something weird stuff like that. The second one, okay, mental abuser, her. She would like probably buy you something, but no. Says make sweeping apologies and promise it will never happen again. None. First one ever did that. The second one never did that. And then the last one never did that. They never promised it would never happen again. Okay. But in a relationship, even though my mom was in one, my dad was in one, it's not what I've seen. But it kind of does go like that. In a relationship, it is like that. Okay? If you have one of these people, a cycle of kindness and rage. Now I'm going to tell you why I hate this so much. Okay? Because they will use the good stuff the stuff they did for you as points in arguments. Okay? Here's the problem. The problem is that you can't say about them like you never do this or you never do that or you never do. You can't say you never treat me good, you never treat me like this, you never treat me like you love me, because they do treat you that way sometimes. So you can't for a fact actually say that they treat you bad. And it's hard to explain if you're trying to get advice from others like family members. It's hard to say that because they can come back and say, "Nuh-uh, because I bought you this. Nuh-uh, because I paid the bill for this, or I paid the rent for that. So how am I like this if I bought this? If I bought you that gift, or if I bought your family member that gift?" See, it was a really good cover-up for you trying to defend yourself or explain yourself what was happening and get advice of how to deal with it. That's why I hate the cycle of kindness and rage. I hate that one so much. Suicidal threats. When a mental abuser senses you're going to leave, they often play the suicide card. The "if you leave me, I'll kill myself," or "I can't live without you" card. They want you to feel like leaving them would be a terrible choice with deadly consequences that you have to live with for the rest of your life. The only person that really had suicidal thoughts was me. But I got there because of Christianity and the way my dad was, and the praying didn't work, the Jesus stuff didn't work, God stuff didn't work, Christian stuff didn't work. And then the fact is that the molester was a Christian himself, and my abuser was a Christian himself, and they had crosses and they had Bibles. So I was the one actually on suicide path. Me. But I never controlled anybody with it. I didn't say that. I was just going to do it. So, first abuser, physical one, when I lived with my mom, I didn't hear that. I didn't see that. The second one, I didn't hear that or see that with the mental abuser when I lived with my dad. And the Christian molester guy, I didn't see him either. He never said those things. So, but if this is you, this is one of them. Okay? So, now fear. I hate this shit too. If you walk on eggshells for fear that something you do or say will make your partner mad, it's a giant red flag. You should never live in fear that the everyday actions of loving your life will cause someone to blow up at you, scare you, or hurt you. Okay, so it was like that with every one of them. Okay? You're just scared all the time. You just have this fear. Like, you don't want to answer the wrong way because you'll get beat. You don't want to answer the wrong way because your dad will get told a lie and you'll be grounded. Or you don't want to say anything the wrong way because of your partner. So here's something I use all the time. I say, I get a lot of, here's something that might happen to you. You might get them saying, "You never give me time to, or care about me, feel comfortable." Okay? You can say this. Whenever they ask you something, "What should I do?" You say, you do whatever makes you feel comfortable. That's a pretty good way to help you not walk on eggshells all the time. or answering wrong or having your good intentions be turned bad, stuff like that. That's really good. I advise you to say that, like, a lot. Just say whatever makes you feel, choose whatever makes you feel the most comfortable. Like, don't have your own opinions. I mean, unfortunately, it really sucks, but you have to find your way. You'll have to find your way, okay, to get out of that. Could be money, could be living in with somebody, could be a roommate. I don't know. But do your best. But also, I really do want you guys, because the physical stuff can get real physical. You really need to learn techniques. Okay, learning to fight is, you have to. Okay, so I don't know if you want to take karate, but what works the best for me, I've defeated like 5 bullies, and it works. Wrestling. If you were in high school, take up wrestling. If you're older, take up jujitsu. Jujitsu is better than wrestling. Okay, that's what you should be doing. Now, manipulation. Okay, manipulation is one of those things that's tricky to describe, but it's basically someone getting you to do something you wouldn't normally do. Usually by convincing them it's a great idea. Usually by convincing them it's a great idea. A manipulator uses you like a chess piece to get what they want. Yes. Okay? It's basically someone getting you to do something you wouldn't normally do. Usually by convincing them it's a great idea. Okay, it's kind of hard to explain this, but I'll explain it the best way I can. It's really more like this. The person, I guess you could say gaslighting, it's almost like that. But let's say the first abuser. Let's go with him. I can't really pinpoint that one on him. But like the second abuser, the more mental one. As much as I'm trying to think about it, it's hard with the way they explain it. Okay, it's basically someone getting you to do something you wouldn't normally do. Well, what me and my sister wouldn't normally do is mess with my dad's personal stuff or clean that area that she would get us to do, convincing us it's a great idea that our dad wanted us to do that. Okay. I tell you what. Once she did. Here it is. I got it. One time, because I was like, I don't want to be here tonight because that Christian guy's coming. She's like, he's coming to, the guy, that Christian dude's coming to babysit, the guy from church. And he's coming to babysit. I don't want to be here tonight. And I was trying to run from that molestation, right? She was like, you can go to spend the night at your bully's house. Guess what? I had rather go spend the night at my bully's house than get molested by that Christian dude. No, I'm out. So I went there, right? But it was a freaking setup, because you see, the Christian molester dude is her brother, okay? And she knows about him being pedophilia and all that stuff. Knows about him being gay and stuff like that too. Well, when I went to my bully's house and tried to spend the night there, freaking the Christian dude shows up, and the bully left and the bully's mom left, and now I'm in the house alone by myself with that freaking Christian dude. And he's about to do his pedophilia stuff, and he's trying to get at me and everything else. So I leave 3 a.m. in the morning. I finally make it out the house from hiding underneath the bed sheet, the mattress. Make it out the house, run past him, run all the way home, running. So now it's like 3:40 a.m. I'm knocking on the door. Boom, 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 boom. Dad opens the door. Thought it was the police, or he thought I was a criminal or whatever. He's like, boy, don't you be knocking on the door in the 4 o'clock in the morning like that. Why are you knocking on the door? What's going on? I was like, I'll tell you later. Well, later came a little after church. So I asked church. I was like, hey, how do I stop, a person from touching me and stuff like that? They said, oh, you just got to tell the truth. The truth will set you free. So I go knock on the door, my dad's door in his room, and I say, hey, so I'm thinking, okay, the church said truth will set me free. I go and I try that. I tell the truth about what happened that night. My dad wanted to know. Well, here's the thing. My dad already knew. He already knew what happened. Okay? But it wasn't the way that I wanted him to know what happened. It was, he just said, oh, I heard about you, what happened with you and that Christian guy. I heard what happened. Are you gay now? Are you gay now? And he punched me in the chest 3 times and then punched me in the stomach, and I was on the floor, and I just looked at him and I said, you're just like that first abuser. You're just like him. And now I looked at him and I said, I will never be like you. Well, my dad heard about it from his chick, the mental abuser. So that was her plan. That was a plan set by her. Okay? Yeah. And also, manipulation is not like they should be able to get away with talking about your family members, getting, hurting you because they make the most money. They might say that. Okay? Well, I did this for you, or I do that for you. Stuff like that. As if that gives them, and they actually think that gives them a pass to treat you like crap and make you feel bad. Okay, now, requiring permission. Grown adults don't have to ask permission to use the phone, eat, leave the house, watch TV, or buy little things. If you have to get pre-approval before you do anything, especially things that involve you leaving the house, that's someone using power and control to keep you under their thumb. Now, like going to see first abuser going to see my dad, nope. Didn't want me to do that. Second abuser didn't want me to leave. Go to church sometimes. Didn't want me to leave. Getting into a sport was hard one of the past because I'm in a sport, so it's kind of like an extracurricular activity that schools provides. So it was harder to do. Plus, I was gone on weekends. Wrestling is great, so you're gone on weekends even. Okay, the less you're home, the less you'll get in trouble. But in a relationship, it'll probably go like, where are you about to go? Are you about to go? You can't go see your friend, or you can't go do anything without me. Or I gotta know everything first. Where it's like you gotta get pre-approval before you do anything. Things that involve you leaving the house. Okay. So it gets annoying. It probably will. No, it will. I mean, all abuse tactics are annoying. They just really are, especially if you're not one of them people. Oh, and they'll basically go call you one. Like, even at a job I got called at. And they were the abusers the whole time. Like, the stuff the abusers will do, especially the stuff that they're guilty of doing, they actually start accusing you of that. Or they'll start making up whole scenarios to make you this person you're actually not. Like, to make you this bad person, this person that treats them bad, when you're not doing that at all. So please don't fall for that. Don't believe that stuff. Okay? You are not the person they're saying that you are. Okay? Now, no give and take. Alright, in healthy relationships, you both spend an appropriate amount of time trying to make each other happy. That's what's supposed to happen. Okay? In mentally abusive relationships, one person will spend all their time trying to make the other happy, and the abuser will almost never reciprocate. It's like keeping your partner happy is your full-time job. Yep, and that can be really freaking tiring. It is tiring. Okay? Now, as far as I'd have to say, like the first abuser, physical one, it was tiring. Like, I always had to make them happy. My mom really was just gone so much. She worked hard. What can I say? She had a nursing job, 16-hour shifts, 12-hour shifts, stuff like that. Like, I really appreciate her. But my dad's relationship, on the other hand, he was like, he basically was just doing everything that she said to make her happy. Basically, just did everything she said. Even when it comes to grounding me and my sister, and we was innocent. That's one of the things that he did. And now me. Okay? So, with me and the Christian dude, it made him happy when I faked like I liked what he was doing to me. But, just like chicks sometimes, when you want it, they like, or act like you want it, then they'll leave you alone. That worked every now and then. But it really will mess with your mind when you're being molested and stuff like that by Christians and stuff, and like they're there when you go to church, they're there to babysit you, and it's just so disgusting. Okay, it's really a disgusting freaking thing to pretend like you're liking it so that they would leave you alone more often, and that's what makes them happy. So that way you don't get choked as hard, or it doesn't hurt as bad. I can't. I'm done talking about it. Done. Anyway, I mean, this is for y'all's benefit, but it's just so disgusting. It's disgusting having to act that way. Act like you like something. I hate it. But in a relationship, the no give and take. So, in a mental abuse relationship, one person will spend all their time trying to make the other happy. So, the other person's usually got you walking on eggshells, right? And you feel like that you have to be this happy person in their life all the time. Okay? And everything is about making sure they're comfortable. Okay? But then when it comes to, when they finally ask you what makes you comfortable, you tell them, and then it's lie after lie. Or it's about stuff that you really, like a big one is like stuff that you really like that they do for you. Okay? And they'll be like, okay, or sure, if you do this for me, I'll do this for you, right? And then they just lie about it over and over and repetitively lying about it. Okay, so that's the no give and take. They'll take, no problem, but they're not out to give you stuff back. They'll say stuff like, oh, well, I gave this or I gave that instead, but that wasn't the deal. You said, if I do this for you, you'll do this for me. Huh. But there you go. Excessive blaming. Okay? Yes, you have problems in your relationship, but according to your abuser, they're all your fault. In fact, it's your fault when anything bad happens, even when you run out of toilet paper. Because if you knew how to grocery shop, that wouldn't have happened. Even things you have no control over, like your abuser losing their job, somehow end up being your fault. Okay, first abuser, yeah, everything was my fault. It didn't be my sister's fault. Yep. Second abuser, the mental abuser chick, everything was my fault. Same thing. The third abuser, the molester Christian guy, it was more like God said I could do this. So it's more like he's following God's morals and he's doing what God wants him to do. So I didn't like. It was more like that instead of the everything's my fault. Okay. In a relationship, you might end up getting their ideas. If their ideas don't work out, you'll be blamed. Or something will go wrong with them, you'll be blamed. Or if they come up with a plan and their plan fails, you'll be blamed. For instance, I couldn't do math very well. I had my dad help me once. And I got a bad grade anyway. And it was one homework sheet that he helped me on. Well, I got blamed for that and grounded. As if I did that work on my own and he was the one that helped me. So, did he ground himself? No, it was all my fault. So, there's that. And a relationship can be like that, where it's like somehow, let's say somebody else that's not in a relationship just does something, a freaking stranger, just anything, something, just they took the last pizza or they took the last anything, guess what? It'll somehow become your fault. Somebody else will do something to them and it'll somehow become your fault. And it's stupid, but there you go, excessive blaming. Now, lying. Hate this one because I'm not a liar myself. But boy, was I accused of lying all the freaking time. And boy, was I lied to all the freaking time. The people that were always freaking accused me of freaking lying is the freaking people who lied the most. Seriously. So, lying. Abusers tend to paint rosy pictures of themselves that are all lies. Some abusers may have frightening pasts, hold other families, and hidden lies that you don't even know about. They use lies as a way to control the information you have about them and about your lives together in general. They can lie about huge issues or just common everyday little things that there's not even any reason to lie about. But if you call them out on their lies, they become incredibly angry. So, lying. The first guy would take a Bible out and put my hand on it all the time and have me lie and say that I went and I told my dad about what he was doing. I never did that. That's one of the biggest things I hated. I hate that shit. Okay. So the second one, mental abuser. Okay. She lied all the time, saying that my dad would save stuff for me and my sister to clean this or do this and that. And my dad never said anything about that. Then she'd lie and say that, oh, we did it on our own. When we'd say, no, she didn't. We'd be like, oh, we're accused of lying on her, and then we get in trouble and get grounded. And I was accused of being a liar all the time. But now I'm older, grown, moved away. Dad said he's going to come and see me. He just doesn't. He lies about that all the time. And I was the one being accused of lying about everything. And I was telling the truth. You know, I told the truth about every freaking thing because I needed him to believe me about the thing when I was going to tell him about what the Christian was doing to me. And that didn't work. So, you know. Also, in a relationship, the lies could always be about sex or oral or, you know, intimacy or something else. But the lies will usually be about something you really care about. Okay? So, whatever you really care about or whatever it is, whatever decision you two decided to make, if you do this or if she does that, then, or if you do this for her, she'll do this for you. And then it'll be a straight lie, like a straight lie. So like for instance, if you remind them, hey, remember you said that, you know, that if I don't know, for instance, made you some ice cream, or if I made you whatever, or if I went and I took you to this faraway place or like 45 minutes out, you know, that you would give me some oral or something because I really didn't feel like doing that. And then they say, oh, you still worried about that? Or, well, we did that last week, or we did that 2 weeks ago. That's not what the plan was at all. That's just complete lying. They knew they was lying. They was lying in the beginning to get what they wanted. It was just like that. Same thing actually happened to me with the mental abuser. Okay, ended up getting a girlfriend. Okay, I checked her license. So I was told to make sure I checked the girl's license, make sure she's not underage, because I was 17. Well, she was 17 like me. But then I'll tell you what they'll do. Like what she did was she kept running around in the bathroom saying that messing with a 16-year-old girl, messing with a 6-year-old. She just kept repeating that, like as if the more she said that, the more I'm going to believe her. But unfortunately for her, I followed what my dad told me to do, and I looked at the license and I saw that she was the same age as me, so therefore I wouldn't get in trouble by dating her. She was just lying over and over, and I already knew the truth. So no matter how often she said it, I was never going to believe that the girl was 16 because her license said she was the same age as me. So there you go. And I hate that. You know, you might have, I think some people will call habitual liars, where it's like lying, it's a habit. Okay? They lie about the same freaking thing over and over and over and over. But the worst ones is when they lie about your favorite thing. Something you really like to have from them, and they lie about that. Something you love about them, or you love for them to do for you, and they lie about that. That's the worst lies. I hate those. Making demands. Okay, this is, we finally reached the last one. All right, making demands. When your partner is thirsty, do you have to get up and get them a drink? Not because you want to, but because you know you have to. Are you basically a servant when it comes to housework? Oh my gosh. Do you have no say if and when you have sex? Wow. These kinds of demands are common in emotionally abusive relationships. Even though this is a long list, it barely scratches the surface when it comes to signs you could be in a mentally abusive relationship. Use your own happiness and the opinions of those close to you as a starting point for assessing your situation. If you need help, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline to be connected with resources in your area. Okay. So, first one. When your partner is thirsty, do you have to get up and get them a drink? Okay. In my mom's relationship? No. In my dad's relationship? No. In the relationship between me and a Christian dude? No. Because he didn't want me getting up. Because if I got up or made any little noise, then my dad might wake up, or the mental abuser might wake up and realize what he's doing. Okay? Growing up, being in a relationship, that could happen to you, and then you'll just have to get up when they know you don't want to, but you have to do it. Not because you want to, but because you know you have to. Yeah. Yep. Are you basically a servant when it comes to housework? Yep. Yeah. For instance, first relationship, first one with the physical abuser. Yeah, I had to do all that stuff. Housework, he didn't help. Mental abuser, had to do housework, she didn't help. Okay, but she did stuff on her own, but she'd do stuff like vacuum, or she'd whistle around the house and act like she's whistling because she's cleaning. But that would be after me and my sister got grounded, and she was successful with her mental abuse, getting our dad to ground us. Okay, Christian dude, him, he didn't care about that, nothing to do with that. But when you're in a relationship, I call it feeling like a maid. For instance, you clean up the room. Let's say you clean up the whole damn house. You sweep, you take out trash, you wash the dishes, you clean off your desk, you clean off the table, you mop, you wash clothes. I mean, yeah, but that's the stuff. See, that stuff won't make you feel like a maid. It'll be you taking up your daily housework. What will make you feel like a maid or a servant is when they dirty up the area you just cleaned with the same item you just got done picking up. For instance, like let's say popsicle wrappings or popsicle plastics. Okay, let's say countertop has a whole bunch of cut popsicle things. You throw them away. Okay, now the counter's clean, right? Guess what will happen? You just cleaned it, right? So they think it's a great idea to go get more popsicles and put them right there, right where you just cleaned it, and it's right next to the trash can. But it's more fun for them to put it on the counter that you just cleaned rather than putting it in the trash. Okay? That's the thing that makes you feel like a maid. And man, even at my freaking job, I hate it. I hate that. I hate that so much. I mean, yeah, it's my freaking job, but don't just keep throwing stuff on the floor because it's my job to pick it up. Like, I hate the servant maid thing. Or like, when you get asked to wash clothes, and it's like, okay, sure, I'll wash your clothes, go to separate your clothes. And you tell them to separate it. So then you believe that they separate their clothes because it's their clothes, and you already have an issue where you can't touch their stuff. So you take all their clothes and You throw all their clothes in the washer and start washing them. Then you get the argument because you didn't separate their clothes. That, even though you just told them to separate their clothes, stuff like that. Or like groceries. You got to put up all the freaking groceries and remember to check all the bags at the grocery store. Stuff like that. Do you have no say if and when you have sex? Yeah, there you go. I never heard that type of control stuff with my mom in her relationship with the first abuser. The second abuser, she controlled my dad with that. Yeah, he didn't have any say with sex because he had to do whatever she wanted. Third abuser, the Christian dude, I didn't have no freaking say so. I didn't want to have nothing with him. But I was freaking forced to. If I wasn't out on weekend doing tournaments and wrestling on weekends at like hotels, having to wake up next day and do a tournament, I'd be stuck with that guy. I was stuck with that guy doing stuff to me for like just 5.5 freaking years. Okay, you just don't. And now, when you get older, okay, there's going to be something. This is what's going to be the most this is the big one because I have this issue now. Okay, and it's a question I haven't ever got answered, but I would like to see a sex surrogate therapist to get her to answer this question because I hate having this question and it never gets answered. And here it is. Okay, so when you get in a relationship, and if you have any backgrounds of Christians molesting you, doing stuff to you, stuff like that, and they're got crosses on and got Bibles in their hands when they're doing it, stuff like that, and they're always willing to do that stuff to you, even when you was a kid, was growing up. So when you get in a relationship, okay, this part right here, do you have no say if and when you have sex? When you get to this point and you're older, you have your own relationship, the question, when they say no all the time or when they're lie about sex all the time, this is what's going to freaking happen. It's very tough, and guys, I'm so sorry. I don't have the answer for this one. I don't. Other than find you a sex surrogate therapist and ask them, because I don't know. But here it is. Why is it that your molester or your rapist make all this fucking time for you? Why is it that they make all this time for you to freaking be intimate with you when you don't want to? You don't want to do that stuff. Okay? But when you're in a relationship, the person that loves you, cares about you, why is it they don't want you intimately? Why is it such a hassle? They're the ones that you got picked out of their friend zone. Out of all the people in her friend zone or his friend zone, you got chosen. Right? They love you, they like you, right? You don't have any problem giving them intimacy when they want it, if they want it. Okay? But you're the person they love. You're the person they care about. Oh, I care about you. I love you. You're important to me. Right? So why is it that person doesn't want to be intimate with you? Or lies about being intimate with you? Or lies about doing their favorite thing that you'd like them to do when they're being intimate with you? But the person that's there to rape you, the person that's there to molest you, is willing all the freaking time without you saying anything. And you hate it. So you can't get it for somebody from somebody that loves and cares about you and you're important to them, supposedly. But you can get it all the freaking time, almost every freaking night, 4 nights out of the freaking week, from the rapist or from the fucking molester. That's the question. And it's a hard ass question. And I'm sorry for cursing so much, but I hate that one. That's my biggest thing. And if it wasn't for this freaking COVID thing, I'd be going to see a freaking sex surrogate therapist, and I'd be asking her that now. And you will too, if you have these problems. But that's what this is important, because these are not things I notice fast. Some of these things I can explain to you because I saw them growing up. But when you see these stuff growing up, you might choose that on accident. You can tell yourself all you want, I'm never going to choose a person like that. And guess what? They might have 5 or maybe 10 out of the 23 of these freaking things. You understand? Of course you do, because I read them all. But if you don't understand, you need to have your own car, your own house, okay? Before you move in with a person that's like this, try to find these signs first before you move in with them. Before you end up not having any money, before you end up not being able to move out, before you, please, because you're gonna be going through a cycle of mental pain over and over and over, and flashbacks unlike anything you want to experience. Okay? So I'm basically just telling you this so that you can know now and be aware of it now, as you are seeking a relationship. Okay? So when these mental abuse things pop up, they're not always from bullies. They're not always from abusers. Okay? I mean, like, they're not always from, mental abuse. Yes, it can happen out of relationships or relationships that your parents is in, like as I was explaining. And then that trickles down to you as the kid. Then you're seeing it. Then they're using their mental tactics on you, and you're the kid. Then you grow up. Then you get in your own relationship. Okay? Then the freaking stuff starts happening to you, but you can't see it yet, or you don't have enough backbone yet to get out of it, or you don't know the signs, or you don't realize that this is mental abuse yet, before you get all the way to freaking not making a lot of money and stuff like that, and then you get an apartment or a house or a roommate. I don't know what you get, but eventually you'll get to the point of living with them. Okay? So before you get to that point, recognize the mental abuse tactics. I gave you my stuff that I remember growing up when I was little. And some things I noticed in my own stuff. Okay? Relationship-wise, things like that. And I'm just doing my calling. I'm just trying to protect you. Okay? That's why this is important. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll have to do another video about something else because it's very important too. But I'll get to that. But right now, this is a long video. I had a lot to get through. I had to give my examples that wasn't exactly what they were saying, because it can be different. I had some of the stuff that was different, and I hope that enlightened you guys and enlightened your mind to understanding that it's not as cut and dry as this person is saying it on this article, okay? That it could go a different way, and it just be mental abuse, period, without being in a relationship at all. And it won't have to be like abuse in relationships. It's just the best thing to say, because of when you're growing up in your family and you're seeing the abuse happen to your mom or your dad, okay, and then it's happening to you, you might accidentally choose a person like that and stay with them for a long period of time, because you would think that only your abusers are that way. Why would anybody else be that way? You would think it'd just be the abusers, especially when you're growing up with a person who's same age as you, young, like 22, 21, 20. Okay? But let me tell you something. My molester, guess what? Was 21, 22, 23, 24, okay? Young. So, still committing that pedophilia against me and everything else. But All right, thank you guys for watching, and I really hope this helps you guys. And thank you.